The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Hello, I'm Isabella Calisi, and this is your news update to 2 o'clock. Last night was the televised leaders' debate for BC's upcoming provincial election. NDP leader David Eby, Conservative leader John Rustad, and Green Party leader Sonia Furstenau discussed housing, healthcare, and BC's overdose crisis. Today, Eby told media in Richmond, although he saw his performance in the debate as a success, he didn't discuss enough about daily cost of living.
I think, one of the things that I mentioned last night is we didn't really get to talk about all of the different ways that I'm committed, Kelly's committed, our team is committed to supporting British Columbians with the cost of daily life.
He says rents are starting to come down with his party's current housing measures, and there's a realistic future where every BC resident has a family doctor. Last night, Rustad had criticized Eby's housing plan, saying young people are leaving the province due to unaffordability.
I think any parent would want to do everything they can to make sure that there's an opportunity for their kids to be able to build a future here in British Columbia. And I will ask you this, in 7 years of NDP government, has anything been better? Is housing improved? Housing has been in a crisis.
Rustad has no media events scheduled today, and Green leader Sonia Furstenau will later make an announcement related to public safety. Advanced voting opens up tomorrow, with final voting being October 19th. And in Vancouver, the Vancouver Park Board Commissioners have approved a detailed plan last night to address the at-risk hemlock trees in Stanley Park. The hemlock looper moths have been causing a significant tree mortality in the park, which has raised risks to public safety. The park board will begin their next phase of cutting down damaged trees in mid-October and should finish in early 2025. Tree work will mostly be done by the aquarium, Brockton Point, Chickadee Trail, and along the northwest seawall. In October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, reporter Tammy Mack tells us why this matters.
Breast cancer is an issue that is quite literally close to the heart. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women. Breast Cancer Awareness Month has been observed in October since 1985. Yesterday, Jenna Fisher, who is known for playing Pam Beasley in much-loved U.S. mockumentary The Office, took the opportunity to reveal her own breast cancer diagnosis. According to her Instagram post, Fisher learned that she had triple-positive breast cancer in December last year. Fisher shared that she is now cancer-free and encouraged others to check for signs. Tammy Mack, BCIT's The Crow.
And a motorcycle rider is dead after a crash in West Vancouver last night. Police say the crash occurred on a winding stretch of Marine Drive with 2 other riders involved, but not seriously injured. The victim was the lead rider and was helped after the crash by first responders, but quickly died from their injuries. Also in police news, Burnaby police are investigating a possible shooting from last night in North Burnaby. Officers had found a man with a gunshot wound near Kitchener Street in Madison. The injury isn't believed to be life-threatening, but police believe the shooting to have been targeted. And Surrey City Council has increased the fines related to sale and use of fireworks. Our reporter Vivek Nakra has more on how it can increase the safety of the public.
The city of Surrey raised the fines to reduce the illegal use of fireworks and to ensure the safety of public. According to the city, this increased penalties will help to prevent reckless risks and motivate everyone to follow the law. Douglas Elford, councillor with the city of Surrey, explains how people can still use fireworks following the law.
If you want to let off fireworks in Surrey, there is a process where you obtain a permit and you have properly trained, qualified people setting them off. It's not like we're not allowing it to happen. You just have to have the right qualifications and the permit to do it.
Alford says that people should be subjected to fines as they resist the process. Vivek Nakra, BCIT's The Crow.
Our reporter Vivek Nakra joins me in the studio. So Vivek, what changes have been made to the fine?
The key changes includes increase in the minimum penalty for firework violations from $100 to $400 and the maximum penalty from $5,000 to $50,000. They also raised the MTI violations of the fireworks bylaw to $1,000, which will facilitate more rigorous enforcement.
Interesting. And with it being such an important festival for the South Asian community, how would people celebrate Diwali without fireworks?
As he said, people can still use fireworks, but only if they have the permit from Surrey Fire Service and also under trained and qualified people.
Interesting. Thank you, Vivek. In a press release, the Vancouver City Council announced their support of the Victory Square 100 program. This program pays tribute to the courage and sacrifices of Canadian veterans and marks the 100th anniversary of Vancouver's Victory Square cenotaph. An installation of banners featuring photographs of Canadian veterans will be installed along major streets in the city. This includes Victory Square and Chinatown Memorial Square. The city is going to allocate $15,000 to waive the banner rental fees. And on to the States. Hurricane Milton continues barreling towards western Florida coastline as a Category 4 storm. Milton is predicted to make landfall later tonight, and officials are making their last warnings for residents to evacuate or take shelter. Gloria McNair is taking shelter in Tampa, Florida, after evacuating her senior apartment complex.
No, I've been through a lot of hurricanes, but nothing like this. So this is frightening.
Officials in Pasco County said shortly before noon they were getting ready to take buses off the road. And the U.S. National Hurricane Center says they aren't certain where Milton's center will come ashore tonight. The storm's path may wobble, but the entire Tampa Bay region and points to the south are listed at grave risk. They say tropical storm force winds were just off the coast around midday. Here's audio from the alert sent out by Pinellas County, which sits on the peninsula that forms Tampa Bay, warning residents to evacuate.
This is an urgent message from Pinellas County government.
Mandatory evacuations in effect for evacuation zones A, B, C, and all mobile homes in Pinellas. Deadly storm surge expected. Get out now. This is your last chance to get out before the storm.
And with Hurricane Milton predicted to hit today, some residents in the southeastern United States say the best indicator of a hurricane's severity can be judged by a local restaurant's hours. Julie Walker has more.
While hurricanes are no laughing matter, one chain restaurant is known for lightening the mood, Waffle House. If a Waffle House stays open in town, even in a limited capacity, neighbors are reassured the storm is unlikely to cause devastation. A closed location has come to indicate impending disaster. The metric, known as the Waffle House Index, what might sound like silly logic, has become a reliable way for Southerners and even federal officials to gauge a storm's severity and identify communities most in need of immediate aid. In Florida, many Waffle Houses are closed right now. In the Carolinas and Georgia, still recovering from Helene, many are still unable to reopen. I'm Julie Walker.
And Alaska's Fat Bear Week contest has come to an end. ABC's Cherry Preston has more on the winner of the contest.
The winner of this year's Fat Bear contest along the Brooks River in Alaska's Katmai National Park is a mama bear named Grazer. She defeated a 1,200-pound behemoth named Chunk for the second year in a row. Some see it as her way of avenging the death of her cub at the paws of Chunk a few months ago. During the contest every year, human fans of the webcam set up along the river vote for whichever bear they think best exemplifies preparedness for winter by the fat they've accumulated over the summer. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
And over in science, 3 scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry today for their discovery of decoding the structure of proteins. One of the recipients, David Baker, who works at the University of Washington, says the possibilities for the research is huge.
I'm really excited across the board. I think in medicine, there's fantastic prospects for making better medicines, medicines that are smarter, that only work in the right time and place in the body. Much more potent vaccines, and outside of medicine, I think the prospects for sustainability, for breaking down, pollutants, plastics are enormous.
Baker gets half the prize money of about $1.45 million, while other researchers John Jumper and Demise Hassabis share the other half. And getting into quick weather, today it'll be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 16 and low of 9. There's a chance of rain later tonight, so be sure to grab those umbrellas and galoshes. I'm Isabel Cleese, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zach Arabko, and here's your sports updates to 2:15. The Vancouver Canucks make their season debut tonight against the Calgary Flames. Canadian press hockey writer Josh Clipperton says what all Canucks fans are thinking going into the season.
The Vancouver Canucks have an unsettled goaltending situation with Thatcher Demko's status up in the air. We're not sure when he's going to be able to play.
The Vezina Trophy-nominated goalie missed training camp and all but one game of the playoffs last year, dealing with a rare knee injury. Rookie goalie Arthur Shilovs and Kevin Lankinen will start this season sharing the net. Head coach Rick Tocchet has not announced who will face the Flames' Dan Vladar on opening night. As well, defenseman Mark Friedman cleared waivers and will report to the Abbotsford Canucks. Tonight's game begins at 7. The annual BCHL Showcase begins on Sunday, partnering with an NHL team for the second straight year. Our reporter Keenan Tregaskis tells us how young skaters are benefiting from these experiences.
This year's showcase is hosted by the Vancouver Canucks and is taking place in Abbotsford Centre and the Chilliwack Coliseum. These annual events are a great outlet for players to show off their talent in a real game. Brad Rihella, Associate Coach and Director of Player Development for the Chilliwack Chiefs, says this great opportunity has the attention of many scouts.
I think it's a really unique and cool opportunity for our players and players across the league to get showcased to the NCAA, NHL scouts, Division III schools. There's a ton of different avenues that it allows players to play in front of.
Each showcase game is also a regular season game. Rihella says his team keeps their head down and stays focused on getting their 2 points. Keenan Tregaskis, BCIT's The Crow.
In the American League, Game 3 of the 2 ALDS series will be played this afternoon. The Detroit Tigers are currently up 3-0 against the Cleveland Guardians in the 7th inning. The bullpens are currently duking it out to close that game. And later, two of baseball's best hitters, Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr., face off as the New York Yankees and Kansas City Royals prepare for Game 3. Clark Schmidt starts for the Yankees against Seth Lugo of the Royals at 4:08. The New York Mets can punch their ticket to the NLCS with a win tonight against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets pitcher Sean Manaea says he looks forward to possibly winning the series at home after being Game 2's winning pitcher.
We just got to win. That's all that really matters. If that's here, it'd be amazing. But if not, then just got to just finish the job.
Jose Quintana just took the mound for the Mets against Ranger Suarez of the Phillies. The game is currently in the first inning, tied at 0. The San Diego Padres can also clinch their spot in the NLCS tonight with a win against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Padres outfielder Fernando Tatis Jr. praised the energy of their fans after their 6-run second inning.
The energy through the roof, especially that type of inning that we build. After 2 outs, it was just momentum, and there's definitely a beautiful finish at the end of that inning.
The Padres will be sending Dylan Cease on short rest to the mound against the Dodgers bullpen at 6:08, looking to carry on this momentum. The Vancouver Whitecaps announced 6 of their players have been called up to their respective national teams. Andres Cubas, Ryan Gold, Fafa Picot, and Pedro Vite will join their respective national teams in Paraguay, Scotland, Haiti, and Ecuador. Along with them, Ali Ahmed and Sam Adakube will join the Canadian men's national team. The Canadian men's team plays an international friendly in Toronto against Panama on October 15th. In tennis news, Wimbledon breaks a 147-year-old tradition, replacing line judges with electronic line calling. The oldest tennis Grand Slam tournament says all out and fault calls will be made by the technological referees from 2025 onwards. The French Open is now the only Grand Slam tennis tournament with human line officials. Chair umpires are the only human referees left at all tennis Grand Slams. Thank you for listening to 1680 The Crow. Once again, my name is Zach Arabko, and I will be back tomorrow with more sports updates.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
If you have been following MLB this season, you have likely heard of the Grimace Mets. The Mets were having a lowly season at 28-37 until Grimace, the McDonald's character, became an unofficial mascot for the Mets after the team turned its season around following Grimace's first pitch. The post-Grimace Mets immediately won 7 straight games and 61 games total, the most in baseball. The Grimace Mets, in my opinion, is the latest example of a team rallying around something fun and riding the wave of success. Baseball fans remember the World Series winning Texas Rangers stumbling into the postseason, rallying around Creed's song Take Me Higher. Here in Vancouver, Roger Nielsen's iconic white flag towel raise became a rallying cry during the Canucks' 1982 playoff run and continues today. Grimace isn't even the first McDonald's mascot to become a rallying cry. Andrew the Hamburglar Hammond led the Ottawa Senators to an improbable 21-2 record to sneak into the playoffs in 2015. Fans dressed up as the Hamburglar and threw cheeseburgers on the ice. Some sports fans may think gimmicks like these take away from the athlete's accomplishments. To that, I say sports is an entertainment product at the end of the day. If fans are engaged, the product will be better to watch, and the teams can recruit higher-end talent. My name is Zach Arobko, and this is today's Sports Comment.
Welcome to For the Record. I am your host, Keenan Tregaskis, and today we are talking about the BCHL showcase that begins on Sunday. Today's guest is Brad Rihella, Associate Coach and Director of Hockey Development for the Chilliwack Chiefs. Rihella has coached the Chiefs since 2018, a team he has held multiple coaching roles for. Along with that, he has experience coaching the Yale Hockey Academy in Abbotsford and the Aldergrove Kodiaks in the Pacific International Junior Hockey League. The BCHL Showcase is an opportunity for young skaters to showcase their talent to scouts. The BCHL website says their first showcase was in 2012, and it has since grown to the point that the showcases are hosted by NHL teams. Thank you for joining me today, Brad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So to begin, what does showcases like this mean for young hockey players' development?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really unique and cool opportunity for our players and players across the league to get showcased to, you know, the NCAA, NHL scouts, Division III schools. There's a ton of different avenues that it allows players to play in front of. So it's a good experience. You know, it's obviously there's pressure associated with that, but you know, you just want the players to go out and do their thing and play their game. And for our team and all the other teams in the league, they are, you know, regular season games. So it's there is a, you know, a dynamic of, hey, it's another game, let's go out and do things the right way and focus on getting 2 points.
So obviously you have a few games during this showcase. How does the game plan differ from game to game? Is it just like a regular season?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to there, Keenan. It's you know, you do your pre-scouts, you have your meetings, you set up your special teams, and you go to work. I mean, it's you know, you try to really downplay all the extracurricular stuff with meetings with scouts and that in the hallway after, and there's a lot of attention on the players, and obviously the players aren't you know, naive to the fact that there's a number of scouts from the professional ranks and the NCAA ranks in the stands, but you really you prepare as you would for any other game. You have conversations with players and manage their stress level going into it, and you work from there.
So you've been with the Chiefs since 2018, obviously excluding your 1 year in the AJHL. What has changed about these showcases over time?
Well, you know, I think, you know, first off, I'm a little biased just because I've seen our front office staff led by Barry Douglas, you know, run a number of these showcases. And I think just every year the league has brought in different initiatives and done a really good job of you know, just putting on a really good show. They've you know, the sponsors have stepped up, the league stepped up, the hosts that, you know, I know it was down in Seattle, it's been in different spots within our league. But just, I think the growth of the you know, the number of scouts has been a huge plus. I think the number of activities and the things that are available for fans and spectators, I think it's just year over year, I think the league's done a really good job of learning and growing and adding different things within the showcase. So we're obviously super excited this year partnering with the Abbotsford Canucks. And like I said, I mean, I know there's so many people that deserve credit, for setting things up, but I got to really tip my cap to Barry Douglas with our group. He does an excellent job on our end, and obviously the league office as well. So we're super excited for it.
So you mentioned activities for the fans there. What kind of activities do you have for the fans to keep them interested throughout these couple of days?
Well, I think with that kind of thing, it's probably something that from my perspective, I'm coaching, so I don't have too many details on the ins and outs of it. But I mean, the in-game presentation is something that really jumps out to me. Obviously, again, I'm biased because we do a great job of that here in Chilliwack, but I think the league does a really good job of the in-game presentation, the organization of everything, and it's really, it's easy for fans and scouts and everybody to kind of have, everything under one roof. So that's kind of what I was referring to there, and I know it's an exciting time for everyone involved.
So I mentioned in my intro that the BCHL website says the 2012 season had the inaugural showcase. During that year, you were coaching with the Prince George Spruce Kings. What was that experience like?
Yeah, no, that was my first year coaching at the BC Hockey League level. I know for me personally, it was a great experience. The showcase was awesome. Again, it was really well run by the league, and it was an exciting time. And again, I think it's just grown in terms of the just the level of that the league has gotten to. I know for me personally, being away last year in the Alberta Junior Hockey League and then coming back in, the level of talent has only gone up, and it's outstanding, quite frankly. It's pretty cool, just the pace of the game, the skill level of players on both teams, and the parity in the league. So I think those are things that over the years have continued to improve. But yeah, I remember coming in and getting our 2 games in at the showcase that year, and it's like any game, you have the scouts come down to meet with the players, and it's a really interesting and unique experience for the players and the staff as well.
Obviously, players are going to react to the showcases every year and have nerves every year. But when we talk about the inaugural one, was there anything that stood out from the players' perspective that you saw?
Yeah, I think for us specifically, when I was in Prince George, it's obviously geographically not the easiest place to get to. So I think it was kind of that initial wave of just seeing the number of scouts and teams, and like I said, in the NCAA, the National Hockey League, that were in attendance. I think that was something that, bordered on overwhelming for our group that year. But I think that as the league's grown the showcase, I think all the teams are pretty used to that now and have a good understanding of that going in. I mean, we're, with us in Chilliwack, for instance, geographically, we're very central. So not only is that an advantage for us in terms of travel throughout the season, but it's also just a great avenue to host an event like this, where it's easy for, you have YVR and the Abbotsford Airport right nearby. It's easy for scouts and coaches of programs and so forth to get here and have an opportunity to watch these elite players.
So obviously, within this past decade, the showcases have been hosted in different cities. What are some differences that each city presents when they host the showcase?
Yeah, I think I know Chilliwack's hosted many of them in that time frame, and I think obviously I wasn't there for last year down south, but I think each team kind of has their own spin on things, and each building as well. So it's just a matter of layout, and I know from a team perspective, where are your meals and where are all these different things, and what are the accommodations and where are they, how far are you from the rink, all those sorts of things. So I think at the end of the day, to answer your question, it's hockey games, it's showcasing your talents, it's putting your team's best foot forward, and from a team perspective, you're just focused on your job that way.
So during these showcases, what are scouts looking for, and does it differ if it's an NCAA scout versus an NHL scout or any other league?
Yeah, I think yes and no. I think ultimately they're looking for good hockey players that can help their program. I mean, obviously there's a lot of high-end draft eligible players within our league. There's a number of players that have already been drafted within our league. And just the same, there's players that have already obtained scholarships, and there's players that are actively pursuing scholarship opportunities. So I think at the end of the day, we had a team come through, for a little tour before our last game at home here. And, the players had some questions. What are scouts looking for? And I think that ultimately, when you get to this level, everybody's a good hockey player. Everybody has a certain level of skill that allows them to be here. I think the separators are, what are your habits like? What's your willingness like? How do you play away from the puck? Because the reality is, a guy that comes in and scores 40 goals in junior hockey is not going to be able to have that same success, at least not right away at the higher level. So it's, how adaptable are you as a player? What do you bring to the team when things maybe aren't bouncing your way? All those sort of things that I'm sure every coach is really stressing to their team, before every game, let alone a showcase game.
So obviously you were also the coach of the Lloydminster Bobcats last year in the AJHL. What are some differences between the showcases hosted in BC versus the one hosted last year in the AJHL?
Yeah, I think the AJ did a real good job last year, and the Calgary Canucks and their host committee did a good job. I think the biggest difference is just, probably just the level of parity in the BCHL and the amount of elite talent that's on every single roster. I think that's probably the biggest separator that I saw firsthand. I think that, obviously there were a lot of scouts that attended there too, but just, everything I think is just a little bit more intense, a little bit more, probably a little bit more, like I said, I think just team by team, there's probably a lot more attention going to these players within our league, just with the talent that's here and the parity that's in the league. I mean, there's no team that doesn't have elite players that aren't going to generate a lot of interest from these scouts, and most teams have, a large number of those players.
Thank you. This has been today's For the Record interview. I would like to thank Brad Ryhella for joining me. My name is Keenan Tregaskis, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you